warm welcome to Namaste Tokyo. Yet another episode of celebration of Olympics, celebration of India in Olympics. Let's slip into the first segment, India in Tokyo. Every time we think of Olympics, we think of certain events that India has a chance of winning a medal. And not too long ago, we added one to the list, that is shooting. Back in 2004, it all started when Colonel Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore brought a silver medal into the country. The color of the medal changed 4 years later in Beijing when Abhinav Bindra became the first golden boy of Indian Olympics. Now, subsequently, in 2012, we had two more medals. Vijay Kumar bringing a silver and Gagan Narang winning a bronze. Now, 2016 was a disappointing edition for the shooters, but this time, Indian contingent looks pretty strong as far as shooting is concerned. We have a galaxy of shooting stars and anyone can shoot down a medal, but India will be pinning his hopes on Saurav Chowdhury. The youngster has done particularly well in international events in the last couple of years, and he looks the brightest star. Experts say there are more than 95% chances of him winning a medal. And we also have Manu Baka, with whom he combines to form the mixed event team. There is Abhishek Verma. There are a galaxy of stars who can actually bring India a medal. Let's wish our shooters all the very best. Yes, my favorite segment, Meet the Champion. Let's go across and meet the golden boy of Indian Olympics. Today on Namaste Tokyo, joining me is India's golden boy. He needs no introduction. The only gold medal winner for Indian Olympics so far, and it's none other than Abhinav Bindra. Abhinav, warm welcome, and thank you so much for joining in. Namaste.
Namaste. How are you? Nice to be with you. I think my gray hair will tell you I'm no longer a boy. So I'm hoping for I'm hoping for many of our girls and boys in Tokyo to come back with many gold medals.
I know you wish to. I've been very vocal about it for quite some time. So let's start with your golden moment. We Indians believe in buying gold, investing in gold, but the 6 grams of gold that you carry, it's priceless. Take us through that memory. What exactly was it like? That particular moment when you knew that you have hit the gold?
Well, I don't look back at it at that one moment. I think that's just an outcome of 2 hours of shooting, but that particular gold medal stands for so much more. It stands for years and years of hard work. It stands for a journey that I had in sport. It stands for the relationships that I built, be it with my mother, who I went to Germany with as a 12-year-old boy, be it with my father, who is a real strength, a pillar of strength throughout my career, be it my relationships with my coaches, or be it with my relationships with my competitors even.
Right.
So a gold medal is often perceived to be, everybody likes to romanticize the outcome, which is of course nice and which is great. But there's much more to it. And that's what really holds has a life which will those memories will remain for the rest of my life, and that is precisely what I treasure. That is precisely what I value. I don't think I value perhaps the gold medal so much, but I look at it as what type of a person I became in the process of winning that gold medal. That is the true value of that medal, and that really is the power of sport. How it can change people, how it can drive people towards achieving a certain goal, and those are the elements which I look back at with fondness.
Right. You missed out on a medal in Athens, so you're looking forward to 2008. But leading up to the 2008 edition in Beijing, you didn't have the best of preparation, because I was told that you could not even lift a rifle owing to a back injury a year before the event. And then you had your special training in Germany, including a commando training. So what was it like that leading up to the last 1 year of preparation?
I went into the 2008 Olympic Games as the reigning world champion. So, I went on as one of the ones who was there to win. Sometimes form 2 weeks or couple of competitions prior to an Olympic Games can be very misleading. But there lies challenges where sometimes those are the competitions which are really everybody has their lens on, but you have to dig deeper. You have to dig deeper. So I think my preparation going into Beijing was absolutely precise. I had factored in every vertical that I possibly could to prepare for these games. I went in as a very secure human being. I went into the Beijing Olympic Games as a secure person. I went into these games as a secure person because I was not confident. But what I had my self-respect. And I had my self-respect because I knew that I could have not done anything more humanly possible to prepare for these Olympic Games, to be the best version of myself. And I was already a winner even before I took the first shot at that Olympic Games. I was a winner in my own eyes. And that gave me the real security. That gave me the strength and the courage to actually go and get the desired outcome.
Right. My question, next question has a generic implication. Your moment, Henry Hakkinen, the finish was actually, you are tied with him before, going into the last shot. And, there are people with talent. There are people with preparations, but a real champion is the one who makes it count and it matters the most, seizing the moment. So before the last shot, what exactly was going through your mind? I mean, irrespective of you're a sports person or not, this is applicable in every field of life, I believe. So we'd like to hear from you what exactly your thoughts were going into that final shot.
My thoughts were totally detached from the outcome. I was definitely not thinking of a gold medal or a silver medal or any medal. My thoughts and my energy and my mental capacity was totally focused on executing the best possible shot that I could shoot. I was living life in that particular moment. In sporting performance, as is any performance where you require a high degree of high performance, requires you to live in the moment. And I wasn't looking ahead. I was not looking behind. I was living it in the moment. And in that particular moment, what my job was to execute a high quality shot. And that is what I tried to do. Not thinking about this is going to be a defining moment or this is going to win me a gold medal or a tide and all of that kind of stuff. That would have just incapacitated my cognitive ability. So the focus was really on actually executing my skill.
Right. Ever since that, Abhinav, you have been a massive influencer, one of the top influencers in the sporting environment, the sporting policy. You had training in Germany. You more of a personal, individually. But has the scene changed ever since you won the gold? In terms of, do shooters have better facilities? Are they taken care of in a better way?
Absolutely. 20 odd years back, I started shooting under a mango tree. Now, when a young shooting athlete wants to start off shooting, he or she has the ability to start his sporting career or her sporting career in a world-class Olympic level shooting range in several parts of our country, using the same equipment, using the same technology, having the same arena. They have access to equipment, which is much more easier to find now. And more importantly, they have access to knowledge, which I think was more challenging in my times, because the sport was still a very niche sport, a sport which was still growing. And that knowledge to really get a strong foundation was very challenging to get. And that's why as a 12-year-old boy, I had to pack up my bags and leave for Germany. But now all that access is available in India, and things have, of course, dramatically changed for the good. We also have an immense amount of participation in our sport, and the depth of talent that we see, particularly in our sport, is absolutely amazing to see. When I started competing at our nationals, which has about 15 odd events, we had a grand total of about 200 participants. Now, if you attend our nationals, we have close to 10,000 people who come and participate at our nationals, with 10,000 waiting to qualify for the nationals. So there's a great depth of talent, and that's wonderful to see. And that is also the reason why our performances in the last few years have really shone bright at the highest level of our sport.
Tell me something about your foundation, the Abhinav Bindra Foundation, and its activities.
Oh, the Abhinav Bindra Foundation is my primary outreach to Indian sport. It has three pillars which we work on. The first pillar being of intervention, where we've set out about 5 to 6 high-performance centers, which brings in global best practice in science and technology. And we give out scholarships to very young athletes between the age of 11 and 16, called the STEAM scholarship program. STEAM standing for science, technology, engineering, analytics, and medicine. And we incorporate all of that into grassroots level training. The second pillar of my foundation is education, where we started the Abhinav Bindra Sports Medicine and Research Institute. We started with bachelor's and master's degrees in physiotherapy and sports science, and we're going to increase more courses. We also recently did a course on leadership in sport and how to improve governance in sport. So in partnership with the University of Loughborough and with the ELMS Foundation, we curated a course which trains leaders, which trains people who govern sport in India to have access to global best practice on how to create environments of high performance. The third element of education is athlete mental health, a very stigmatized subject, but a very important subject to work on. So that is a lot of advocacy work happening on that. And the third and last pillar is using sport and the real power of sport for societal good. Our first project was with my former rival, now a very good friend, Niccolò Campriani from Italy, where we started a program to train 3 refugees to try and turn them into athletes and help them qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. The project is a great success. 2 of our now athletes will be representing one in the refugee team and one in the national team of Afghanistan, because he's an asylum seeker still at Tokyo. So they, in a couple of weeks, or not even in a couple of weeks, they will be competing at the games in Tokyo. So it's a life-altering experience for them, and really wonderful to see how the power of sport can change people's lives in a positive way.
Great vision, absolutely wonderful to hear that. Abhinav, I'm going to take you into a different space now for the next few seconds. I thought, I'll fire a few rapid shots at you. It's going to be a rapid fire round based on you and your Olympics. Just 3 questions. So this is going to be a 15-second exercise. Each question will have 5 seconds. When you won the gold, you remember who won the silver in Beijing?
Yeah, the Chinese, Zhu Qinao.
Absolutely, right. And the second one, it was on the 11th of August that you won the gold. What day was it?
Monday.
Monday is you're not sure, but Monday is the right answer, and it was the best day. And here we go. Going into the final shot, you were tied with Henry Hakkinen, and you scored 10.8. And Hakkinen's score is what I'm asking for. How much did he score in the last shot?
He shot 9 point something because Zhu came up 9.7 or something. I don't remember. But it was
9.7 or something. I mean, you are not sure, but it is the right answer, 9.7. Well done, Abhinav, 3 out of 3. Thank you so much. And coming back to shooting, how do you see India's chances going into Tokyo? What's your take on the current Indian shooting team?
Well, I look at the sport through the lens of a fan, because that is what my involvement with the national team is. I, of course, look at their prospects in Tokyo with a great amount of hope and a great amount of optimism. I think never before in our history have we had so many athletes going into the game, starting as world number 1s and world number 2s. I think we have 8 athletes, and it's just the shooting team who are world number 1 and world number 2. So as a fan, of course, I have great expectation, great optimism, and a great hope that we will have a historic games and we will win multiple medals. And I really hope that will happen. So I think prospect-wise, never been better than ever before.
Abhinav, if you look at the Olympic graph of yours, it's quite interesting. From Athens, you went to Beijing, number 1, gold. And then, in London, you could not produce the same thing, but again, came close to a medal in Rio. You are a very process-oriented person. You don't look at the results, that's what I understand. But how much is it possible to stay away from the pressure? Having been the gold medal winner, the next edition comes along. Does that put pressure on a winner to sustain it? So were you under any kind of pressure going into London?
Pressure every time. I mean, even if you
Okay.
go and compete in your Chennai district competition, there's pressure
Right.
there. If you go to
Right.
Olympic Games, there is pressure. Pressure is what
Right.
sport is all about. And to
Right.
perform at the highest level of competition, of course, pressure is going to be a part and parcel of an athlete's life. And by no means was I ever immune to that kind of pressure. I had to face it. I was never really able to, let go of it. I just had to find a way to coexist with it.
Right.
So an athlete is always under pressure. We lead very unique lives. So, an athlete's life. So an athlete would be appraised every week because we go and compete every week and we are judged
Right.
by the whole world every single week for our performances. So an athlete is always under pressure. So whether it's
Right.
defending champion or even an underdog, there is internal pressure. Sometimes it's amplified because there is more external pressures, but then you have to learn to find ways to let go of those distractions. But
Right.
pressure will always be accompanying an athlete in their career.
As a leadership consultant trying to help people, I cannot let you go without asking this question. Do you always focus on the process? The result doesn't matter, or it shouldn't matter. It should not be in your mind. But you chase excellence. And what would be your success mantra, rather mantra for excellence? If a youngster coming up in any field, not just in sport, what would you tell a kid to focus on if he has to be excellent in his field?
Well, it's difficult to just pinpoint on one thing, but maybe I would
Right.
just give one element which could hold value because it held great value in my sporting career, which is
Right.
to be a good listener. And I think specifically in our younger generation, we're not so good at listening to other people. But also, when I talk about listening, it is about listening to other points of view. As an athlete, when I was an athlete, I was able to succeed because I worked with a group of people who sometimes had very conflicting viewpoints, and viewpoints
Right.
sometimes I even did not subscribe to. But that did
Right.
not mean that they did not have value. So I learned how to use conflict in a positive way. I started to view conflict or conflicting viewpoints with an open and flexible mind,
Right.
and used it for my personal growth. And I think if you're able to do that, I think that is one element which sometimes gets forgotten in everybody's life cycle. You're very focused on your own way, and you think that is the right way. But I think it's so very important to just remain open and remain flexible and also just listen to other viewpoints. You may not subscribe to them, you may not even follow them, but
Right.
they still have a certain value. They have a value to another human being
Right.
who has a different perception of things.
Right.
Nobody's right or nobody's wrong, but just be a good listener.
Wonderful. One final word from you. It's been quite difficult for all of us in the last 1.5 years or so. An Indian team with a lot of hopes in Tokyo right now. What will be the message that you want to send across to Indian contingent out there?
I think I'm sure each one of them have worked tremendously hard in the last 5 years now, because this Olympiad has been a cycle of 5 years, or probably worked harder. They've been all professional in their approach,
Right.
and they've worked hard. So frankly, that is what really matters. Now, all that remains is them going out to shoot, or going out to play their game, or going out to perform their skills. So they should really be just focused on that, not worry too much about the results. The results will take care of themselves. Now is the time to really get stuck in executing your task and trying to execute it to the best of your ability.
You stressed on the importance of listening. It was great listening to you, Abhinav, for the last 15 minutes. I'm sure the viewers also will have the same once it is published. Thank you so much for coming on Namaste Tokyo, and thank you so much for talking to me. And this wall of gratitude is not just from my behalf, of the week's behalf, it is on the country's behalf. So a big thank you for what you have done, and I'm sure that you'll continue to inspire us with your good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All the very best.
Just as great. In today's Just as Great, I'm going to talk about a couple of individuals. 2012 London edition, the entire country was very happy, very delirious because of 6 medals we won. And of the 6, 2 came in shooting, a silver to Vijay Kumar and a bronze to Gagan Narang. But there were 2 just as great performances as well. Joydeep Karmakar, a hitherto unknown name who wasn't sure of making an entry into the Olympics, got into the Olympics and surprised everybody by coming very, very close to winning a medal. In fact, he was 0.7 points away from winning a bronze at one point, and in the final equation, he missed out by just 1.9 points in the 50-meter rifle prone event. Sadly, not many remember him, but just imagine somebody who didn't have even an outside chance coming into the event and coming very close to winning a medal. Fantastic. The second individual, you might be a little surprised to hear the name, is Abhinav Bindra. We talk about Abhinav Bindra, we talk about his achievement in Beijing, the golden boy, but Abhinav had a little bit of an up and down graph when it came to Olympics. Athens, Beijing, and then a sheer disappointment in London, but in 2016 Rio, he came very, very, very close to winning a bronze, which would have made him only the second individual after Sushil Kumar to have 2 Olympic medals to his credit. He came very close, so close that there had to be a shoot-off, something like a penalty shootout in football, a shoot-off to decide the bronze medalist, where he narrowly missed out to an Ukrainian shooter. Just as great, wasn't it?